Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another US type reaction, and this one is Visit America, the don'ts of visiting the USA. And with me, hopefully, I don't know when, but hopefully, like, I want to go to the US again with all the virus stuff going on. It's not going to be anytime soon, but I want to experience the sports culture. I want to be able to visit all types of stadiums, whether it be basketball for the NBA, the NFL, the NHL or the MLB, like all, and even like the NASCAR stadiums. I'd love to just be able to visit and experience all different types of cultures and sporting cultures as well. So I mean, this video could be useful for me in future, but as well as that, I just want to be able to, oh, not, I just want to be able to, I hope to be able to experience the US firsthand when I do eventually, when I am eventually able to travel there. But again, it's going to be a very long time, a very, very long time. But when it does come, it's going to be a good damn day. But without that being able to happen anytime soon, I'm just interested to sort of see videos like this that may help me learn a little bit more about the country before I do travel. And yeah, so the don'ts of visiting the USA. I mean, I assume this is going to be a video sort of explaining to tourists and people coming to the country for the first time what to expect when you do go there, and so you can sort of prepare yourself, because it is a big sort of thing for someone to do, especially to go to such a big country like the US. So I mean, we're gonna watch this. We're gonna see what this video has to sort of show me about the country. And yeah, if you have any sort of further information you want to let me know in the comments about this video, because maybe there's gonna be a few things that you don't agree with, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to like read through them to again help me learn more and just sort of help me understand more about the country. But let's just get into this to see what this video has to offer, man.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S., because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them,
To be fair, I don't think anyone likes to be touched just out of
they
nowhere,
feel
right?
very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going, all this stuff, and my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation. Look, when we were in China and we were
Is it
in
that bad?
throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed. Here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you
Really?
a lot of places.
Is that true? I would have thought the US would have like the most advanced sort of public transport in the world. That's kind of a surprise to me already.
Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around for the public transport and it'll
Okay.
take you where
So it's
you
just
want to
the
go. But a lot of towns, small towns
smaller
especially,
cities,
and
yeah.
middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good. And at night, sometimes it's not very safe. So that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you is that is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, it's, you know, continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from, oh, I'm going to do, you know, go to from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, oh, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami
Yep.
Beach, and then head over to L.A. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in
Yeah.
cars. The distances here are insane. So what I
Huge, man.
recommend is picking a region. So, oh, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England. Or we're going to go in the southeast, you know, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that. Or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home just for lunch. 6 hours in the
What?
car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours. We start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through.
But I drive. I say I drive. I don't drive, but I'd be in like a car journey for longer than an hour, and I'll be like, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And what I'm gathering here, 6 hours to the people from the US, or for a lot of people, it's just a normal sort of road trip, which is crazy to me because for me that would literally be from going one side of the country to the other side of the country, which is nuts.
Okay, this isn't like, oh, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no. No. We drive all the way through, okay? Now, my next don't for you when you come here is don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the U.S., we have sales tax. I know other countries, they have VAT, value-added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, oh, it's $1 or €1, oh, I only pay €1. In the U.S., it is not like that. We have sales tax, so a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're going to go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not going to be $1. Where I live, there's 2 cities right by where I live. One, it's going to be $1.08. The other one, it's going to be $1.09. So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that leads us into the 5th don't, and that is don't forget to tip. Look, in the U.S., you tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place. But if it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the U.S., there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat.
If you don't tip at a restaurant, do not go back to that restaurant because they will remember that you didn't
tip. In the US, it's because there's kind of this understanding that the service fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping, and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that. But they don't, okay? So tipping is something we do here in the U.S., so do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're going to want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink.
Oh, wow.
So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't is...
That's a big difference to the UK even. Like tipping here, I mean, you obviously do tip, like on like apps like Deliveroo and Just Eat, you can tip like people who bring you your food. But even then, like it's not like a thing that people sort of are expected to do. Which I mean, I guess it is because of other sort of circumstances, like they're not paid enough by their suppliers or by the restaurants that they work for, which is pretty sad actually. Like you have to rely on tips for that, but I guess that's just the differences, right?
Don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the U.S. Look, because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the U.S., the people actually are pretty nice, and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread, I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal. Okay. Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out. All right, you actually have to order some food when you go there. Now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the U.S. If you're smoking cigarettes in the U.S., people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally verboten, like people really frown upon.
Really? I mean, I don't smoke and I hate smoking, but I didn't realise that. I thought there was like I thought it'd be similar to the UK, like just people who smoke. But I guess you do get the same kind of people here to us. I mean, I'm not against smoking, but I hate it. I mean, that's not a worry for me, but I didn't realise that would be the case either.
Which is funny, because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette 2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke-free. It's smoke-free, so you have to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things, so that can be something. So I've come here outside my favorite liquor store to give you the next don't. And that is, don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21.
Oh, yeah,
or
true.
cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the U.S. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID, because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that. And don't get mad at them, because if they
what?
don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just a person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor, or they want to buy alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just
Jeez.
FYI on that one. Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you. But honestly, you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay? So just do that, because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here. So our next don't is, when you do come to the U.S., there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics, talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nice?
To be fair, if I was going to the US, that would be the last thing on my mind. I'd be going there to experience what the country's like. I wouldn't be going there to have arguments about politics or gun control or anything like that. I'm going to the US to experience what the US is like. So, I mean, if you are going to the US to have those arguments, I don't know why you would even do that, to be honest, because it's just like you're taking away from your actual trip and what you're wanting to
So
experience.
if it was sunny today and we could go sailing, yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just putting that one out there for you right now.
Plus, I hate
Now, my
politics.
next
I don't
note
even
for
get
you
involved in
is,
that
don't
sort of stuff.
assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look, the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures.
Something that I've learned very recently, the diversity in the US is crazy to me. I never assumed it was anything like it is, and it's mind-blowing, to be honest. Like, the more I learn, the more I realise just the difference between states and cultures in states. It's just crazy to me. It is just like small countries within states. It's crazy, man.
All kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other, and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff. There are those. So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is, if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions, because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland, or going to San Francisco, or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess I would say another don't is, don't assume there's no culture in the U.S., because there are a lot of cultural centers out there. If you go down to New Orleans, you see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston. Here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest with Chicago, Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here. Historic culture with the Native Americans, or more recent culture here. I mean, you have all that here.
I mean, who doesn't think the US has culture? In what kind of sense is that even meant? Because, I mean, you just go through all these different cities, and they're also different and diverse and culturally different. I don't know how that's even a thing that someone would think, but maybe someone who doesn't know much about the US would think that. I don't know why. Maybe that's the case. It's just, again, I don't know why people would think that, because from what I've seen, and again, maybe people are uneducated, they don't really know these types of things. And to be fair, I've only really learned about these recently, so even though I would have never said that the US doesn't have culture, I would have never sort of guessed it's just sort of just so as different as it is from what I've learned recently. But to say that it's not got culture would be a thing that I don't know how someone could even come to that sort of idea.
You can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the U.S., It's
It
not
is.
really true because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York, the Getty in LA. There's all kinds of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you, these kind of things in the U.S., it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi.
Wow.
Because a lot of people say, everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying, how are you? Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's like in France. Ça va? Ça va. How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good. You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So don't think it's an actual question, all right? Now, another don't I have...
No, me. I would start so many conversations through that because I'm so awkward. I would be like, yeah, I'm good, how are you? And they'd be like, what? Why are you replying to me like that? I'm definitely the type of person who would do that. I could just imagine it already.
Is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get nicer stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi. Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the U.S., it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the U.S., and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice, so don't expect that from the fancy hotels. Another don't I have for you is, don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New England.
Nah,
We're
I
in
would
Connecticut.
love to
We're
experience
gonna
this,
having
man.
lobster and clams and oh my god, New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Oh my God.
My God,
The
I need
food in
that.
the different regions in the
need
U.S.
that.
are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally owned and operated restaurants so you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owner is the ones helping you out. And that is really kind of a cool thing. Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the...
I mean, it's harder said than done, right? But that's definitely a thing that I'm thinking about because, like, you get some kind of like you break a bone or you get sick in the US, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. Can you bring medication into the US? So for me, like someone with asthma, I could bring like my inhaler into the US and I could bring like paracetamol and stuff. Surely, I don't know if that's a thing that you're allowed to bring on flights or not. I assume it is. But if it isn't, I would be screwed because I would have to use like an inhaler and stuff. So I mean, that's an interesting thought actually, because if I did get stuck with that kind of situation, I would be finished, man. I would be finished.
The U.S. is insanely expensive, and just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right, so if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance, so in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now you might have to pay it first and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive, okay? So make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states. And they said, no, the U.S. has 52 states. Look, don't think the U.S. has 52 states. The U.S. has 50 states, okay? Just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school, they told me 52. No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? So, those are our don'ts for
Why do
visiting.
people think that? People who aren't from the US think that. What countries do they think, or what other places do they think are two more states? Like, what, Puerto Rico and somewhere else, I assume? I didn't know that was a thing, though. I just didn't know people were
In the
thinking
U.S.?
that. But
What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S., just so we can get things going. Anyway.
I enjoyed this, man, honestly. I don't know if it's copyrighted. Is that the one issue? I assume this is alright to react to. If it's not, that's my bad. But I love this. Now I'm going to see some comments because the comments will help me sort of realise more things as well. The funny thing is 90% of people watching this are Americans. if someone asks you how are you, just say I'm good, even if you're not. Yeah, I would. I just know I would always reply to something like that, like saying I'm good. How are you, mate? And then they would be like, "Why are you replying to me? We don't use a metric system. We use a Pringles can. Don't just, don't just talk about Star Wars. This is legitimately up there with politics, gun control, religion. Seriously, people start screaming about Star Wars. Again, never watched Star Wars. I'm gonna be honest. I've not watched Star Wars. I've not watched Harry Potter. Oh God, I'm such a young person who's never seen anything. Never ask a senior how are you, because they'll always tell you every single ailment they have. One of the biggest don'ts in America is interacting with other people's kids. Just don't. To be honest, I don't think I'd want to do that anyway. To be honest, I don't know why you'd want to do that. I'm an American. I approve all things he said. I really agree with the don't touch kids one. What the heck is that? Did I miss that or something? The US has 50 different countries as far as I'm concerned. Different food, landscapes, vibes, people, accents, and you can hardly get us to agree on much. Don't touch the Americans. Why did I think of a zoo? Wet sign, touch the animals. Love Americans. You guys are amazing. All the support from India. I'm an extreme traveller, so extreme. I lived in the US for my whole life, never left. Got addicted to the US culture, yeah? I appreciate that. And understand that. Don't drive slower than the speed limit. The waitress asked my 70-year-old grandparent for her ID when she ordered a Long Island iced tea at Chills. Really? That's insane. See, that would never happen here. What the hell? Me, an American, watching this to figure out how to interact socially. Don't cut Americans off in the highway. You will lose your life. I love these videos, man. I really do. And as long as this doesn't get copyright strike, because I feel like this may get blocked for some reason. I hope you guys went on to enjoy. And yeah, what are your thoughts on this? What else would you say about these sort of American things, the do's and don'ts about people who are travelling? I might have to wait until I'm 21 to travel there, you know, because I'm 19 now, and you can't fully do everything until you're 21 in the US, and I feel like that's when you get the proper experience, you know. But we'll have to see about that, because I do want to travel there so badly. But I say travel there, there's so many different places that I'd want to travel to. It'd have to be like a few different trips. But again, we'll see. I'll see how things turn out in the future and how the channel continues to go, because maybe the more the channel the better the channel does, the more likely I will be able to go to the US and sort of experience these cultures and like on holidays and vacations there. But yeah, we'll see. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.